It's ILene Vick here for Teaching About Coloring with ILene Vick. It is Saturday, September 25th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I am live. Oh, welcome to everybody. Come on in. Good to see ya. Hope everybody's having a decent Saturday. Take it easy, sit back, get your coloring gear, and we'll have some fun. Good to see everybody, as I said. Welcome to my Facebook viewers who view live, and welcome to my Facebook lurkers who watch, but don't necessarily comment. That's okay too. And welcome to my YouTube viewers. Love you guys. Alright, so I've got several projects that I'm working on. Oh, and don't forget the 28th, I'm going to have a duet coloring with Dawn Denise Boyer. And there'll be a contest with it as well. So that's always fun. Alrighty. So let me make a couple of adjustments here and make sure that we're okay on the volume. There we go. Let me know if there's any problems with that. And if you'll just say hello when you come in the room, just so that I know I can see comments. You know how that goes. We always seem to have sometimes good old Facebook issues with that. All right, so I've got several projects. Hey, Ashley. I can't decide which one I want to work on today. I'll probably work on the wreath a little bit, and then we'll get back to our witch. And then, of course, we've also got our dark grayscale. Hi, Nan. Welcome back. Alrighty, so let's do this. I'll go ahead and I'll work on my wreath for a while, and I'll switch up. You guys are telling me that you love this project. This is the one that's on the back of this project that I just finished. This is from Rhapsody in the Forest. And I really enjoyed doing this one. This is my ugly sweater. And then the deer, of course, coming through the oval here. And then I've got the rhinestone additions that I stuck on here. So yeah, we got some neat stuff going here. Let me know if there's any problems with sound levels. I'll be glad to adjust. Let me grab my paper towel here. So if you're new to coloring, remember, always put something underneath your hand that you can rest your hand on while you're coloring. And that helps keep your piece clean. All right, let me do just a little bit of adjustment here. So Nan, I hope you had a decent day today. Ashley, how about you? All right, let's go ahead and start with our pine cone. I thought I had all of them done, but I don't. I've had a couple more pop up. Zoom in. Zoom in. Oh, Nan said, yes, I did. Had a nice visit with oldest son and his wife. Oh, wonderful. And spent a couple of hours coloring. So, do your oldest son and your wife also color, or were you coloring there, or are you just talking about that you colored separately when you got home? Okay. So I've got my base brown here for my pine cone. And then I'm going to use my brown ochre by Starjoy. And this is where I start adding my highlights. Zoom in. Zoom in. Hi, Rhonda. So Nan says, I colored separately, however, daughter-in-law does color. I delivered her birthday gift of 120 square Brett funners. Oh. I'll bet you she was really surprised about that. Brett funner's a good pencil, too. And Rhonda Green is here. Hello, Rhonda. She got back from her granddaughter's birthday party. Okay, tell. What did she think of the gift? Rhonda was working on a coloring gift for a couple weeks now. Hello, Daisy. How's my sound level, guys? Is it good? Okay, so notice now how I am shadowing in on a pine cone. Yes, she was surprised. Oh, that's great. And of course, she understood the reference to the baking and cooking in the kitchen, right? She screeched and yelled so happy, sound 6+. Okay, thank you. All right, now I'm taking my deep mahogany. This is a Brett Funner 520. And now I'm going ahead and I'm shadowing in between our pine cone pieces. And check out now how much dimension that we've got on here. Isn't that cool? So again, I'm working in between the pine cone pieces to give that shadow. And notice also how I'm completely coloring in a couple of these pieces. And then I'm leaving the tips. So there are lots of things that you can do with these pine cones. She actually baked her own birthday cake from scratch. Oh. Well, speaking of birthdays, Nan said that she got her daughter-in-law a set of Brett Funner pencils. How cool is that? All right, let's take a look at this. Zoom out. Zoom out. And now we're starting to get that filled in look. How pretty is this? Okay, now, this whole piece here is I'm really concentrating and highlighting black, as you can see. So, as I'm coloring this and finding my pen, zoom in. I want you to notice that I'm also coloring in with black the spaces between my wreath components. And what this is going to do is that's going to start to highlight. I don't use gesso, Nan. I use the Krylon Spray Fix Stiff. I'll show you that can in a minute because I'm in close-up view. But yes, I do prep the page. Alright, let me get a couple more spots here. Now, I don't want you to be afraid of using black. And Rhonda, am I remembering correctly that your granddaughter's name is Kelsey? Okay, so let me come down a little bit here. Abby, I'm sorry, Rhonda. Now, I'm using a simple black pen. And I'm just filling in now these areas behind these different parts of the wreath. And I don't want you to be afraid of using black for contrast. You know that I shade with it and it really comes out well. All right, zoom out. Zoom out. Nan, I use a workable fixative by Krylon, and that's what I prep the page with. It's a spray. It's the 1306. Yeah, I figured Abby would love that macrame. Yeah. She knows you put a lot of detail in there. So this workable fixative is great for, you know, smudging, wrinkling, acid-free archival, and I use it because when I use my markers, I love to be able to blend them. Okay. Yeah, make sure that you get the 1306. You don't want to get glossy. You've got to get matte. And Nan, if you're interested, that should be on our affiliate list as well. Okay. So let's go ahead and work up some more of these areas. And again, we've got a lot of pieces on here that I don't know what they are. And that's where you just need to be creative and inventive. And it certainly is okay to do that. And I don't want you guys kicking yourself when you're having problems trying to figure out what something is. Remember, you are designing your own piece. All right. So let's go through, and I'm going to use a gold flame. Hi, Rita. I'm going to use a gold flame Brett Funner 520. Rita from Guatemala. Zoom in. Now, what I would suggest is, since we don't know what a lot of this stuff is when you find, I mean, at this point, guys, I'm coloring by shape. Excuse me. So anything that's got this round look now, zoom in. I'm going ahead and I am going to base color with this Prismacolor. Now, you know too that I always tell you to come in lightly, right? You don't ever want to come in gangbusters with your colors. You want to tint your pieces and then go back and then color to the depth that you want to color. Oh, Rita, that's great. Talking to your friends from Guatemala? Wonderful. You said you were using Zoom when you do that? I'll tell you what, guys, I don't care how old you are, you really need to be up on your technology. Okay. Oh, WhatsApp this time. Okay, yeah. And now you're going to see this really come together. So what I do, Nan, is I prep each page with my spray, my Krylon fixative. And I really like it. It pretty well protects everything. And when you see me use markers, you'll see why I do this. It creates that coating for me. And then when I put my water-based markers on it, because it's got that coating on it, it allows me to go ahead and blend that marker. Okay. And I've had lots of discussion with you guys. If you make a mistake with a piece, own it and fix it and work it. If you get a blotch on your paper, work it. Work with it. Now, I've got a problem with this page, and you can see it. This coloring right here is from the other side, which is my reindeer and my ugly sweater. And when I put my final coat of fixative on it, it caused these colors to come through. So I'm just going to have to adapt on this side and figure out a way to cover that. No biggie. And this is where I want you to be light on your feet and able to change something if something like that happens. I've put too much time and effort in this to let it throw me. Oops. As soon as I find my pen, I'll be in good shape. There we go. And this is where I encourage you to be highly adaptable. You don't ever, ever, ever want to toss a piece. You are more of an artist if you can overcome whatever issue that you have on your paper. It's easy to throw something out. That's the easy way out, right? And I consider you more of an artist if you can overcome something happening to your piece. Okay. Oh, Rhonda says she's watching tonight, too tired to color. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's work these pieces right here. So as you can see, because of this color coming through from my other side, see it? That's just going to cause me to adjust and do something different. Your mind is spinning on what I would do to the background. The choices seem vast. You're talking about the background of this piece, Nan? Oh yeah, there's tons of ideas. Okay. So let's go ahead and put a little black right in here. Oh yes, to cover the bleed through. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Nan, people that are relatively new to coloring, they panic and they would throw something like that away. You know, they get really upset about it. I'm not upset in the least. It's like, oh, okay. Okay, now I'm filling in my black areas here because I want that black contrast. And guys, you got so much artistic leeway on this. So Nan says she's done quilting and paper crafts for years. I seldom give in to defeat. Excellent. Okay, so now I'm going through and I'm just picking my various areas where I would put in this particular color. Pretty, pretty color. Well, a lot of times what happens, Nan, with adult coloring is people have a vision of what their piece would look, would look like. And that's fine. You can have that and an idea and a goal and the whole bit. But when they start to color, if it changes, which sometimes it does, then they tend to get upset with it and they say, oh, it wasn't what I wanted, da 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 da. and they're not adapting to how the piece turns out. And the thing that I teach when coloring is, yes, you have a general idea, but it's also an adaptive process. For example, you may be working through something and you'll say, you know, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but it needs to be adjusted to something different. I mean, I've got a smear right here that happened with the black. So I just have to fix that. No biggie. So Nan, are you caught up in this junk journal craze? Have you ever done any of those? Okay. You absolutely have to be flexible. That's right. That's right, Rita. Okay, and I accidentally, apparently, did not get this part of my rose color. So there's my light pink. And then we'll darken that up just a little bit. Okay. I can't save all the junk mail to glue it into a book. Okay. All right, now let's, oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Zoom out. Zoom out. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And remember, this is just my preliminary laydown color, right? I haven't shaded it. I haven't added depth to it. right, let me check something here. So Nan says she makes greeting cards for deployed military to send home to their loved ones. I also make photo mini albums, give bags and boxes, gift bags, boxes and paper purses and doodads. So I have decided to try my hand at art coloring. Yay! You go, girl. Okay, zoom in. So let me go ahead and get some of this brown over here just to get that balance. Excuse me. So right now I'm just filling in my areas with my brown to balance up these colors. Okay. Zoom out. Again, I don't want you to be flustered by all the detail in here. All right. And if anybody has questions or comments why I use this specific color, sure, let me know. Okay, now I'm going to use, again, a Brett Funner 520 Poppy Red. And I'm going to go in and work on my alternate pieces now. Zoom in. Brown and red go together beautifully. And what that'll do is that will give us now some nice, I'll use the word contrast because it's giving us now a different color to work with, but it works with what's going on. And you'll see that as I go along. I don't want you to be intimidated by a piece like this at all. No need for it. And the thing is, you want that little bit of, again, I don't want to say contrasting, like I said, but I didn't want to go with another orange, and I certainly didn't want to go with another brown. Zoom in. And then I still have my areas here that I can fill in with black pen. These are my Pilot G6, G2, different sizes. I love them. I also have them in multiple colors. So don't be afraid to use your black, guys. Okay. Now, I'm still having a little bit of issue coloring over these bumps that are in the paper, because on my previous piece here, I've got these little rhinestones that I put on. And because this is a back-to-back page, these rhinestones now that are on this page, they're coming through as bumpies. So that's another little challenge that I'm working with. And honestly, short of buying another book, there's really no way of getting past that. Because you may color something at one time, and then it may be several months, and then you'll go back and color another piece. So for example, when I did my, ugly Christmas sweater, I wouldn't have known necessarily that I was going to be doing this wreath. So that's why I'm saying you can't let these things throw you. All right, so let's continue with our poppy red. Beautiful, beautiful piece. Hi, Amy. Okay, now, I've got a couple of areas in here. Oh, I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. Oh, excuse me, excuse. So I've got a couple of areas here. Let's see. Again, don't be afraid of your black. And these are areas that I missed earlier and really wouldn't have shown up until I started to color. And it's up to you totally what you want to do. If you want to color in all your black first, that's fine. That'll give you an idea where everything is. If you want to wait until you've colored, that's fine too. Whatever floats your boat. Okay. Alright, we have another pine cone. I'm going to bypass that for the moment because I'm putting in my secondary here color. Okay. And by no means, guys, if you get tired of putting in background color like this and just, you know, just fill stuff in order to get it done, stop coloring. That's absolutely not the way to do this. You've put in too much effort. You need to just take a break. In other words, I could have easily colored all this in just, you know, the red. Decide I don't want to do that. Right? And when somebody looks at your piece, you want to, what? Surprise and delight them, right? And also, as I've been telling you, when you color, your piece should tell a story. So, when I'm doing this piece here, I'm using brighter colors, my browns and my golds. I could have used just pinks and oranges if I wanted, more pinks and oranges. I could have used blues if I wanted. So what's the story that you want to tell with your coloring? Oh, and Nan says, now I understand why so many people have several pieces going at the same time. Oh, exactly. Now, having said that, however, Nan, there are people that just like to do one at a time. And that's fine. Oh man, I am really loving this piece. And Nan, that's why too, that I like to have different pieces going. I'll have maybe, well, I don't want to be boring when I'm coloring on camera. But again, as I tell my viewers, it shouldn't matter what I'm coloring. It's how I'm doing the coloring that you should be paying attention to. You may not, this may not float your boat, the piece that I'm doing right now, and that's fine. But I want you to see the methods that I'm using. Okay, and I was going to erase an area. There we go. Okay, am I close enough for everybody? Can you see? I mean, look at it this way, Nan. I'm doing this very complex piece, and then I started up that witch. You know, that gave everybody a little break. Okay, so let's get that. Now, one little oopsie that I did. See this brown that I put on here before? I'm going to go back and go back over that with this red now, because it blended in too much with the twine. That was my boo-boo. So I'm going to put this poppy right on top of it. I decided I don't like that. And guys, you've got to be able to adjust, adjust, and adjust. And what you think maybe is not a good job, you put that up in the group and show it, and people will look at it and say, wow, that's absolutely gorgeous. So knock off the self-criticism, critiquing stuff. To be perfectly honest, and I've said this before, you're not qualified to make decisions like that. So Nan says, I see that it also allows you to use completely different color palettes so you don't lose interest. Exactly, Nan. Yeah, I mean, I'm using blue and turquoise on that witch. Okay, let me get this back in camera here. Now, we've got a little bit of a issue here. Let me clean up these areas in between. You guys know that I'm all about drawing in extra lines as needed, right? So here I am looking at this twine, and I'm looking at this leaf, and can anybody tell me what's wrong with this particular image? What do you notice about it? Okay, what you should notice is that this leaf here is cut off and really should be behind this twine. So I'm adding two, right, there isn't anything behind the bow. Good call, Nan. So I'm taking my pen and I'm adding two lines, simple. You don't have to know how to draw to do this. And I just completed that little leaf area, and when that dries, I'll go ahead and color that in. I'll tell you what, I've always said this when I run into things like this, is all coloring book artists should color their own pages. Okay, so let's go in now. That should be dry enough. And we'll go ahead now and we'll finish that. See? 2 little teeny tiny lines, guys. Don't be afraid to edit your coloring books. You know I'm big on that. Okay, let me slide you over. Zoom in. Now, again, if I wanted to be lazy about it, which I'm not going to do, I could have just colored in these stems my same pink. This is what I'm talking about. If you start to rush a project that you just fill in stuff just to get it done, that tells you need to stop. All right, let me roll you around a little more here. And you guys know by now that when I'm coloring in these areas here, you know I'm not going to leave it. You don't ever, ever, ever color in an area with one pencil color. Right? Okay. Roll you around a little more. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, rolling around. Rolling, 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 rawhide. Oh, getting silly. And let's go ahead and do a little cleanup here. Okay, zoom out. Zoom out. Let's take a peek and see how we're doing here. Remember when you color a lot of area like this, well, anywhere, do little micro turns on your pencils. Oops, just went on the outside here. And that keeps your point sharp. Okay, now we got a lot of little things here. So I'll go ahead and alternate what I'm coloring. Rhonda, you still hanging in with us? Doing okay there, sweetie? Okay, so let's roll you just a little bit more. Oh, how pretty is that? Zoom out. Zoom out. Feast your eyes on that. Not too shabby. Oh, got a little area that I missed. And this little piece here, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. I think we're in pretty good shape, actually. Okay. Now, I've got these little, couple more spots here. Cool. I'd say we got a good portion of this colored. Okay. Now, I am going to do one thing. I'll show you this. So, I'm still using my, no I'm not. I'm using my Polychromos Faber-Castell 226. This is my little extra areas here that I've been doing. So now I'm going to come back with that color. And I'm going to highlight and stripe my browns. zoom in. And look how pretty that looks. Now, some people forget to do things like this. In other words, they may go in and shade the outside, blend it, whatever. But if I go through now and stripe this, like I said, I'm not going to go all the way through. There's our little extra kick, and it looks pretty cool. I think Rhonda fell asleep. She's had such a busy day. And look how pretty those come out. Let me get you to the right spot here. There you go. So anywhere now that you've done that orange, you want to go back through and add that striping. And I'll tell you what, it's really going to kick up your piece to another level. Now, don't get reckless with it. You've got to do it with a purpose, right? And a specific pattern. Oh, look how pretty that is. And it just takes you 2 seconds. Now, when you stripe, of course, be sure that you go in the direction and the bend of your leaf. Otherwise, it's going to look really funny. Now, I haven't done my poppy area yet. My poppy red area, so that's still unfinished. There you go. All right, and I missed one area by the pine cone, so bear with me here. I'm not going to use my poppy red because of the apples. But I will go ahead and stripe them because I've got that contrast, so I'm not worried about it getting lost with it with the edges of the apple. And we got this little guy here. And I've got two little areas here. Missed the spot. So I'm going back with my gold flame. And then I'll put that red on top. Oh man, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Oh, Nan says coffee, there you go. Okay, there you go. And now this is the time to go through and double check and make sure that if there are any areas that you need to fill in with black, you know, you'll catch them. Hi, Ashley. Here's a little area that can go with gold. Zoom in. Ashley, good to see you. I'm working on the wreath tonight for a little while. Okay. Always glad to see you, Ash. All right. Zoom out. Zoom out. Zoom out. That's what we've got so far. So I've got a couple of whatever these are. 3 of them that I can see so far. There's a spot that I missed. Sorry, hold on. Any questions about what I've done so far, guys? Glad to answer them for you. All right. Hold on while I get a new scratch pad to work on. Oh. All right. So this is coming out beautifully. Let's see what I can do here. Just a couple. All right, so I'm going to use my very light brown here. There we go. And this is my Prismacolor Peach Beige. And that color is 1085. So we need to get dimensional on our little whatever these are. If anybody has any, oh, you're back, Nan. Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know. Zoom in. Zoom in. Zoom in. So I'm going to color this portion up here a light brown-ish color. And again, this is my Peach Prismacolor. And I'm going to go ahead, while I've got the pencil in my hand, I'm just going to go ahead and do that on my other pieces as well. You'll see where I'm going with this in a moment. So there's that little guy. And then I've got one more here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a dimensional divot, if that makes sense. So I'm going to use my brown ochre, Star Joy 103, and I'm going to color inside here. And then I'm going to use my charcoal gray Arteza A120. And I'm just going to butterfly kiss this. On the edges. Because what we want is that depth. Now, this gets a little tricky because it is a relatively small space. And notice that I'm just blending with my finger. That's fine. And then I'm going to use my 9-iron black, Brett Funner 520, and I'm going to touch onto the very edge. And that's going to give us the different shadings. Nan, I sort my brands by color. And so I choose, yeah, I have different brands of pencils because of the colors. Also, I'm a pencil nut. What can I say? Although I am done buying pencils because I bought quite a few. I've got like 11 brands, I think. I like to play with them and try them out. Okay, so here's my brown ochre by my Star Joy. And I do love to have the range of colors. I mean, obviously there's overlap on some of them, but they're pretty good to be unique. Now, do you have to have different brands of pencils? Absolutely not. That's just me. I'm a nut for them. What can I say? Now, the Brett Funner 520s, if you can get a hold of them, are a good assortment to have. Okay, charcoal gray inside, just to start giving us that illusion of depth inside here. You just heard that a new set is coming out, Starjoy Gold, sometime in October. Yeah. And then I'm going to come in with my black now on my edge. For that depth. Now, it looks a little messy because I'm close up, but I like to teach that way. And now I'm using my Faber-Castell 103 Ivory, and I'm just blending that a little bit. Okay. Light brown. Oops, forgot my edges here. By the way, Starjoys tend to be very waxy. Soft, I should say. And then I'm going to use my charcoal gray, just a little bit in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my black to outline. And then my Faber-Castell Ivory 103, just to go over the top and soften and blend those. Zoom out. Zoom out. Zoom out. Prismacolors are great, Nan, they really are. If you have the budget, Faber-Castell are very good pencils. They are very good pencils. They're pricey, but they're good. That was one of the first sets that I started out with. Faber-Castell are oil-based. How do you like your Prismacolors? Brett Funners, I like Brett Funners. Okay. And really, there aren't too many things to go. I've got a couple of these buds to do. This little pine cone, couple of pieces down here, and basically I'm going to be done with this. Couple of things. Yeah, the Prismacolors are great. Did you buy the full set? Let's see here. And that paper is ripping away right there. Excellent. So you got the full set. You want a large variety of colors to play with. Exactly. And that's what I love about my pencils. You know, Sooty Style are the cheapest. Crayola are the cheapest. The only color, I got Cool Banks. The only pencil I would not buy again are Cool Banks. I just don't like them. I feel like I'm fighting them all the time. And remember, guys, pencils are personal preference. So you can get general recommendations about what each type of pencil does. But remember, ultimately, it's up to you what you like to color with. Okay, I think we're in good shape right now. I may have to go with a completely black background on this because of my colors seeping through. And that's fine. I think it would look good. But we'll see. And again, what caused that seepage is when I went ahead and sprayed this with my Krylon Fixative. I actually wasn't expecting that. I haven't seen it. But it did end up causing a little bit of the pink to come through. It may have been that I put a little too much Fixative on. This is the first time I've had this happen. So that might have been my error. But at the moment, I'm thinking a black background. Nan, what do you think about that? Rhonda? Hi, Wanda. Hello, hello, hello. I actually also may be able to get away with a vibrant gold. I actually may do that. Miss Wanda, good to see you. So, except for a few little pieces here, this is coming along beautifully. I've got a couple spots here. A wood texture to replicate a door. Yeah, I actually did that on another variation of this. Let me see if I can find it. I was actually playing around with that, and I did 2 of them, and I did replicate a door in the background. Bear with me, peeps, here. See if I can find this. Oh, let's see here. Hold your horses. Hold on, hold on. Oh, and Nan, this is a quickie coloring tutorial. You were talking about the slice knife. I used it on the horse, and I used alcohol marker as well. Well, I'm not finding the other wreath that I did, but I did do a a door background. Well, thank you, Nan. I'm glad you like that. Well, let's see. Give me one more second, peeps. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, this is done with the slice knife. Zoom out. And if you want to see how I did it, it's from Age of Elegance. You can do a search in the group using the little magnifying glass in the upper right hand corner and just type in quickie coloring tutorial. So I was playing with this. This is the wood background that I was shading in. I put the black on here and I used the slice knife on the back here. A little orangier than what I like. Actually, yeah, and it's okay if it looks busy. I mean, if you've got a wood background, that's okay. I mean, it's a busy piece all around. So yeah, just look up quickie coloring tutorial, and you'll find this. All right, so there's my wreath so far. Exactly, it needs to be a more natural wood color. All right, anybody have any questions or comments? I'll do that. I'll do a wood background coloring on it. And don't, like I said, Ashley, excuse me. People expect to see wreaths against wood, so that's not going to be that much of an issue. I'm almost wondering too, is you can do blue paneling, like a light blue, bluish gray. We'll have to see. Okay. So I've got our little witch and I have our grayscale. Anybody have any preferences about what you'd like me to do tonight? Zoom out. Yeah, you think the blue, Nan, blue would look good? A bluish, grayish wood paneling? I think it would look good too. Anybody have any preferences on the grayscale or the witch? Yeah, Rhonda gave me a thumbs up on the blue. Blue, blue, blue. All right, somebody state a preference so I can get coloring here. You're coloring the witch now? All right, I'll do the witch. Exactly, Nan. It is a color that's not in the wreath, so it wouldn't compete with the browns in the wreath. Okay, I'll do the witch. I will. I showed you how to do dimensional hearts last night. So, let's get her going. And again, remember, I'm not done with the cats. You know me by now, right? I do not do one and done. Oh. Alrighty. So I'm going to use a Zenicolor 2. This is, let's see, I'm going to guess aquamarine or marine blue. I don't know. It's getting short enough now. Curious what I'm going to color her socks. Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and start shading in now on her dress. Zoom in. Zoom in. So last night I used my alcohol markers to lay down the base color here. And now I'm going to go ahead and start working in these folds. Now, when the author puts in the folds, we're pretty much stuck with that, and that's fine. But remember, you can always add your own and then amplify. So I'm going to pull this color down just a little bit. And I'm filling in this area in between because it is a fold. So we've got our darker area right there. Okay. And remember, if you want to go ahead and smooth that out, you can use your Faber-Castell ivory. Doesn't really add a color to it because it's so light and neutral, and it blends it perfectly. Okay. So let's go ahead and work on our dimension. Yeah, Rita, I haven't decided on the sock colors yet. I don't know, orange maybe. We'll see. So I'm going to use now my same color here that I used for the folds. And we're going to go ahead and start giving dimension to the other parts here. And I'm just going to put a very, very light shadow around our paws here. So that's going to be a little bit lighter than what I'm putting on the edge. Excuse me. And remember, if you want to get a darker color, you don't do it by pressure. You do it by repeated strokes. So guys, knock it off by shoving your pencil into the paper. Let your pencil do the work. And if you're not getting the color that you want, then that just means that you've got to use a darker color, right? And now I'm blending in, which means I'm coming out lighter and lighter and lighter. You want that gradient shade. So you think I should use red or orange? Rita. And I want you to notice that as I'm shading here, the center area is getting lighter and lighter. Rita's voting for red on the socks. Okay. Okay, everybody see now how we've got a great shading on that sleeve. Anybody have any questions about shadowing and shading? Remember, darker towards the outside, and as you're coming in, you're going to get lighter and lighter. Wanda says, I think a little lighter than the dress blue would look really good too. Okay. All right, now notice how we've got dimension now on these cuffs. Lighter blue with purple shading. Rita, what are you agreeing to? Which one? Okay. Let's go ahead and do the same thing up here on our cuff. And we'll go ahead and do this on the bow. And we've got our dimension. Now, I've got a narrow spot right here, so I'm going to go ahead and hit that with a little bit of white. Be sure you clean the tip of your pencil off. So I'm going to energize this with just a little bit of white. I'm not going to use my ivory. And that way we've got that popping. Okay. Let's do the collar. Zoom in. Repeated strokes on our edges, and then as we come in, lighter and lighter and lighter. Butterfly kiss towards the center, guys. No lines, right? No wire hangers. And notice that I'm coming down with a little bit shading of this blue in the middle of the collar just to give it that little depth and detail dimension. So we've got a little bit of action going on with this collar. All right. And guys, I still see that some of you are having problems with blending on your pieces. You've got to get that blending squared away. All right. And then I'm just going to hit that with a little bit of white. I mean, just barely. and then pop that with my finger. Okay. Now, check out the difference. Zoom out. Zoom out. Zoom out. Check out the difference between the bottom of the dress where I haven't done the outlining and the shading, and the top portion here where I did it on the sleeves and the collar. It makes a difference. Zoom in. And you also want to go ahead and add that shading around the putty's feet. Just a little bit. And I want you to remember that when you're doing something like shading, you don't have to shove it into people's eyes, guys. They'll see it. By the very fact that you stroked your pencil on your paper, got a little blue on there, you've already done your coloring. Alright, now you can see the difference between the bottom part of this dress and the part between the cat's legs. And what I also want to show you here is that you want to have, where we've got the folds, you want to get this lighter and lighter and lighter as you come out. And some of you are having problems with that, is that you're just darkening the lines, but you're not bringing it out to make it look natural. So you've got dark streaks on your piece. So I'm going to use a little bit of my ivory now just to smooth this out. And I'm also adding a little bit of shading right here on the right hand side. Okay, so let's get that shaded here. Remember, every time you stroke your pencil, you are laying down color. bit of blue here, get that off. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit this with just a little bit of white. Not much. Butterfly pressure. Just a tad. Okay, zoom out. Zoom out. Now, what I like to do, I'm going to take my folk stone. No, I'm not going to take that one. I'm going to take my, let's see here, my Ivory Black by Starjoy. And now I'm going to play with the shading just a little bit more. Zoom in. Zoom in. And this is where the richness of your color is going to come in. And boy, if you want to talk about sparingly, this is sparingly. So I'm going to take my black. And I'm going to go right up into my corners now and my edges. And I want you to see how that enriches. Look at the side by side now of her collar. This side I put that little bit of black on there. This side I didn't. Barely touching. And that will enrich your color beautifully. See the difference? Okay. I'm just blending these spots in a little better. Now, the way to develop your touch in doing this is you sharpen your pencil to a needle point. See how sharp that is? And that'll help you keep your pressure light, because if you go too heavy, you'll break your point. All right. Zoom out. And I want you to see the difference now. I've done these two areas here and the cuffs. See how much dimension and richness we have on here and here as opposed to down here on the cuffs. Okay. And I'm just blending this a little bit better here. Anybody have any questions or comments about that? Zoom in. So, sharpen your black pencil to a needle point. And then come in on your edges and add that last little bit on your piece. And no streaks, guys. Look at the difference on the left side and the bottom and the top and the side here. And now look at the difference between this bottom cuff and this one here. Do you see it? Yes, no, maybe? All right. And I'll smooth that down. So Nan says, yes, I see the difference now. I understand why it is an important step. Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and get this on the dress. But I can't say this enough, guys. Barely touching. And like I said, use a sharp point. Number one, it keeps your black under control and in the areas that it should be. And number two, it keeps you from pressing hard. Okay. A little bit here. And what this does, guys, is it makes this so rich. Oops. It's a very subtle step. And if you put too much on here, you can come back with your ivory pencil, Faber-Castell 103. And fix it. Let me smooth this out. And the thing is, guys, is you wouldn't think that it would make a difference, but oh my gosh, it does. And your viewing audience now, when they look at your pieces, they're going to go, wow, it's got that extra oomph to it. All right. And I just like to press it in with my finger. If that bothers you, use a blending stump. Zoom out. Zoom out. Okay. And look how rich that looks, guys. There's your difference. And the thing is, you wouldn't realize if someone were looking at this and other colorists were looking at this, they wouldn't necessarily realize that you put that black in. They would just think that you went in with your darker color. And that's the neat thing. Okay. I still want to blend this a little better up here. Too much of a line. Okay. So you guys want me to do those socks next? All right. So you guys are thinking a nice rich red on her socks, huh? Wanda was thinking blues. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the red, and the reason I'm going to do that is because I've got the red hearts on the top. I'm not saying that a light blue wouldn't look good. It would look terrific. But I am in a red frame of mind. zoom in, zoom in. So I'm going to go ahead, I've got my Sivo Vivid Pink. I don't have a color number because these are the cheaper pencils. But I'm going to go ahead and color the binding here, the top. Not the binding. Ah! That's the only hazard with using different brands is they take different pressures. And every once in a while when I'm switching, I've got to do a quick adjustment. Yeah, I think the red will look good by the cats as well. Now, you guys know that I like to color over the line just a little bit, just to dull that black. People do not go around with black lines on their clothing. All right, so I want a nice red, rich look. This is my magenta Prismacolor 930. And I want you to notice too that I'm coloring the individual stripes. My pencil tip is loose, but that's what Prisma does. It breaks easily. Ah. Oh man, hold on. Good old Prismacolor. Okay. Now, I always like when I'm coloring segments or coloring something like this, I like to do the segments and it keeps the color uniform, because when you're coloring you use a certain pressure. And it helps keep your colors, like I said, uniform per area. If you color differently, that's fine. But this is how I do it. Okay. And my point is breaking again. And there it goes. Hate that. Hate that. I'm going to bitch about Prismacolor for a while. Move to Mexico, they said. Save money, they said. And then Prismacolor has to pay for all those replacements. I'm going to rub my finger on this because I want this to be nice and smooth, by the way. Okay. Just get my little area here by the cat. Take your time, of course, when coloring this. You want your colors to be nice and even and smooth. And again, don't jam your paper, pencil into the paper. Just keep doing your repeated strokes until you get the shade that you want. Okay. Now, I've got a little white area here. Oh, let me get underneath the cat. I don't think that's her leg based on the angle. Her leg is going up like this. So I'm going to go ahead and color that purple. And be done with it. And I think that's the right decision based on how that looks. Again, if you color it the sock color, you color it the sock color. Don't fuss over it. Now, don't forget too, when you're coloring, most people color up and down, is if you want to get that uniform coloring and get those speckles out of there, then you've got to go crosswise. So there's a little tip for you there, is just change the direction of your coloring pencil and you'll be just fine. There you go. All right. If you contact customer service, will they replace that pencil? Probably, but you know, I'm using enough of it at this point that I really can't justify having them replace it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our other segments done. Rita says that little tip just helped me save the picture I've been working on. What, and coloring in a different direction? For example, guys, when I'm doing these stripes, see, I'm going back and forth horizontally, and then I'll hit it vertically. Vertically. Another way to help with uniform coloring is to color in little circles. Little teeny tiny circles. So I'm doing it different ways so you guys can see. And be sure to do the micro turn when you change a spot on your pencil and lift it up. Turn your pencil in your hand a little bit. Keeps that point viable for you. Okay. And then I just like to rub it with my finger just to get that, you know, you get that wax on there. You can see it in your light. Looks like I got a little on his tail too. I'll get that off of there. There we go. All right, let's take a look. Zoom out. Zoom out. Zoom out. Not too shabby. Now, you know I'm not done with those stockings though, right? All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a Folkstone Gray. This happens to be a Brett Funner 520 set. And you guys can use, you know, whatever gray you have. It's a darker gray. Zoom in. Zoom in. And I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to butterfly kiss the seams in her stockings. And I'm going to let that gray spill over a little bit on the sides. And what that will do is that will give me dimension. So I'm enhancing the line, but I'm also bringing out just a little bit of that gray on either side. Very, very light, guys. So I'll color my line and then come out with a little bit of gray. Not much. And then on the very outside, I'm going to come in with my gray just a little bit. And what you'll start to see because of that is that lighter area down the center. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just bringing out my gray to that point now that I start to see a lighter midsection. Now, you don't want to come out a whole heck of a lot. So at this point, I would go ahead and use my, let's see, ivory. Faber-Castell 103. Not my white. And it's just going to give me a little bit of lighter color down that leg. So, in other words, I didn't want white because that's too much. So Rita, do you want to explain how I saved your picture? You said I saved, that little tip saved your picture. So I'm just adding just that little bit, that little tint. And that's giving me a little bit more oomph to the picture. All right. So let's go ahead and do the same on this side. Oh, Rita, yeah, you said that that tip about cross-coloring with the pencil saved your project. And I was wondering if you would share that with the rest of us. How did it save your project? And that way other people can learn. I take it you're working on something that you had a lot of problem with the spotting. Okay, so I've got my ivory. Again, didn't want to use white too much. So the ivory is just enough to lighten up my areas. Oh, you were having difficulty with the wings on the dog that you showed me. I gotcha. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use my Prismacolor. And go back with my red. This is my same red, my magenta. Zoom in. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shade that band just at the top of the stocking, just a little bit. Same principle that I used with the black. I'm hardly touching it. But it's going ahead and picking up that color. So lots of popcorn on it, and I believe that the paper will take the colors going in the different direction. Okay. Yeah, try little circles, try a different direction. I'm guilty of it too. I tend to go up and down a lot. Okay, so I'm using my magenta on the pink. And check out the difference now between the two. Zoom out. See it? Little extra touch. All right, let's take a look. Zoom out. Zoom out. Zoom out. Check that out. Zoom out. Zoom out. Look how rich that looks, guys. So what did we do on here? Colored in with a little extra black. Did the extra black on the dress. Did the shading on the stockings. I hope that these little tips here are helping you and will give you better depth and dimension on your pieces. And again, it's the blending. You've got to get that blending straight. There's just no two ways about it. Okay, haven't decided on the color of the hair. Let's see. I'm kind of at the point where I really don't want to start a new area. Okay, Nan, check out the stockings. You can do a replay on that where I outlined it with the gray, and then the top where I outlined it with the pink that I used on the stockings themselves, or the red that I used. So we've got a pretty sharp looking piece here. And as I said, I want everybody to notice now what a difference it makes to have that little extra black on the outlining. But oh my gosh, guys, you've got to not press hard. It's very subtle. Oh, let's see. All right, let's do this. So I've got my areas, the trees here, and there's not much detail at all on them. So I'm going to work on that for you. So what you need to do is you need to get a pen that matches the line weight of whatever you're coloring. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bulk up the trees. Zoom in. Rhonda, I'm going to be on just for about 10 more minutes, if that, but good night. I know you're tired. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pen here, and I have a slightly lighter weight. Zoom in, zoom in. I have a slightly lighter weight pen, and I'm going to go ahead and make these trees bushier. And that was Vicky snorting, if you heard that. Now, to me, it looks like we've got, let's see, a little segment of a tree. I'm actually going to use my darker pen now, my thicker pen, and I'm going to like close off this one tree. To have it look like there is this tree in front of that tree. So keep that in mind, that if you have to draw in additional trees like this, you can use your different line weight pens. And I think that you'll agree that this looks a lot better. And I'm even going to add an additional tree here. So we've got several trees here, and now I'm going to go back to my lighter pen. And add my little extras now. Zoom out. So let me go ahead and darken this line here, because we'll make that a tree. And now, as you can see, I've got several layers here. Okay. And then as I move this over here, I'll go back to my lighter lines here. So where I basically had, it looked like this was one tree with a lot of branch, I made it into several others. And these are the types of add-ons, guys. You know, just face it, you gotta add stuff like this. So I'm just gonna darken this line a little bit. And now we've got our several trees, which I think looks a lot better. Now, if you want to, you can go ahead, if that looks a little wonky to you, If you want to, you can go ahead and add another tree branch, or trunk, I should say. And that way we've got a little more balance to everything that's going on here. And guys, all you're doing is drawing squiggly lines. Okay, one more quick little area here. So we've got some bushes down here. And this is just something that I want to see be a little bushier. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this. Again, I'm just emulating the shapes that the author has already put in here. Nothing exotic, nothing weird. You can trace them if you want. If you're not sure about your drawing abilities, I've told you to go ahead and put them in pencil first. Zoom in. And I think that we're getting a much, much better look here. Much better. What do you think? Do you like it better than than what I was put on before? And then what you can do is go ahead and put the center line down. On these bushes, which I think makes it look a little more interesting. Nothing elaborate. Takes 2 seconds, guys. And I think that this is going to look a lot better. Simple additions. So let me go ahead and put one more area here. Good night, Miss Wanda. And one last here, and that'll be it. Okay, so let's take a peek at this. Zoom out. Zoom out. There we go. Zoom out. Questions, comments? And again, this may not be your style, but I'm showing you the technique to do these different things, and that's the point. Okay, calling it an evening. I hope you guys learned something tonight. I hope you had fun. A little more casual piece. And then we worked on this piece as well. We'll go ahead and do a blue background on that, blue boards. I think that'll look really cool. And then this piece will be done. I've been loving doing this for you. I hope you're learning something out of it. And you now know how to do pine cones, apples, oranges, and roses. Oh my. Okay guys, love ya. I hope you learned something tonight, guys. Joyous coloring. I'll be here tomorrow night, same time, same place. You are welcome, Nan, for a wonderful time. Tell your friends. And they don't have to be colorists. If they just want to come in and listen to some interesting chat and look at something pretty, they can do that. I love looking things close up. I can just see all my misses. Teeny tiny spot. There we go. All right, guys. Be kind to each other like you've been. Guys, joyous coloring. And I will see you tomorrow night. Same time, same place. Take care, guys. Bye.